Welcome to Banfield. A Connecticut dad goes off on young employees at a smoothie shop, and the resulting video is racing around the internet faster than a blender on puree. 17-year-old Charlie Hill, an employee at the shop, posted it on TikTok, and a warning, some of you might find this offensive.
I have no room to yell at us.
I want to speak to the person who made this drink. Is that you?
No, it wasn't.
We don't know who made it, so.
You don't know who made it?
There's 4 of us here, so we honestly don't know.
Fucking stupid ignorant high school kids.
Okay, bye.
I want to speak to the
Bye. Okay, you can call corporate whenever you want. Goodbye.
Jam stop.
I don't care.
Give it to me right now.
I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police.
I want the telephone.
Gianna,
I want the telephone. Shut the
You shut up. Get out. You corporate. Bye.
You're a
Okay, good for you. Bye.
I want
Bye.
the shut up.
You shut up. You're not going to tell me to shut up. Who are you? Who are you?
Immigrant loser.
What? Get the out. Get the out. Get the out. You're going to jail.
This all happened on Saturday, and that man has now been identified as 48-year-old James Iannazzo of Fairfield, Connecticut. He left the store before the police arrived, but he eventually turned himself in. The court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict with an amplified guilty, but will an actual court see it the same way? Here's how the police described the event. At 1 p.m., Iannazzo made a purchase at this Robeks smoothie shop and left the store. Then, 40 minutes later, Iannazzo called 911 from his home asking for an ambulance because his son was having an allergic reaction. His son was transported to an area hospital. Police say a short time later, Iannazzo then returned to the Robeks and confronted employees, which led to the video that you just saw. Iannazzo now faces 3 charges: intimidation based on bigotry or bias, breach of peace, and criminal trespass. He's also been fired from his job as wealth advisor with Merrill Lynch. I want to bring in Melissa Scheichl. She is a social worker and psychotherapist who has children with severe allergies. She also runs a very popular blog at the site allergymom.com. And April Preyar is a criminal defense attorney and adjunct professor at John Marshall Law School. Welcome to both of you. Okay, so first and foremost, Melissa, I want to begin with you. There's a lot of the story that not everybody knows. And when some people know it, they change their opinion. And when some people learn it, they don't. An employee says that he ordered a smoothie called Peanut Power Plus without nuts. But the employee says he did not inform anybody of an allergy. The father says he's stressed that his son had an allergy. This was according to Charlie Hill, the employee. Quote, he just said no peanuts in it. But if you don't say you have a nut allergy, which is an option on the app and in person, we use different stuff if there's a nut allergy. So he didn't tell us he had an allergy. So clearly his son had a near lethal reaction to the nuts that were in this drink, and clearly the man made his way to the store from the hospital where his 17-year-old son had that reaction. So Melissa, I want you to weigh in on it as a mother who not only has a child with a severe allergy like that, but also you sort of have this group, you run this blog of people who have dealt with this kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're dealing with food allergies, it's really your responsibility to advocate for your child. And that means, going above and beyond with notifying this is an allergy. This isn't just a preference. This is something that could be, in fact, life-threatening. It's anaphylaxis. And, I see the word on the screen there, Papa Bear. You get really protective when it's your child's health and safety, right? And so for me personally, would I be ordering that smoothie? I would not. We do have something similar where I live that's called a peanut butter, but my concern would still be whether or not other ingredients contained nuts or traces of nuts, or whether the machinery that they're using has had traces of nuts cross-contamination. So I was quite surprised that he did order that and not be more explicit from the version, of course, of the story that I'm hearing.
Okay, so April, I want to get you to weigh in with your legal eye because I'm sure that you were sort of looking at it from a whole bunch of different perspectives. A, it's ugly no matter what, no matter how angry, no matter how, devastated you are that your son nearly died. You can't go into a store where it's a bunch of high school kids and start screaming profanities, scaring them, and then calling one of those kids an immigrant loser. But now the charges, you heard me list them off. Are those fair?
Are they fair charges? His actions are disturbing and they seem to fit the charges. So the highest charge is the intimidation based on bias. And that bias can be race, it can be sexual orientation, it can be gender identity, etc. And it seems as though when he indicated that he believed the young woman to be an immigrant, and he also, it was bleeped out of the video, used the B word several times when he was referring to the young women, I think that would qualify for that charge. The problem with the charge is it carries 1 to 5 years in prison. Do I think he'll get that in any court? No. And up to a fine of $5,000, and it is a felony. The two other charges, the breach of peace and the criminal trespass, are both misdemeanors. If he was happened to be found guilty of the felony charge, those would get merged into the felony. So the biggest problem, I don't think are his words. I think it's his actions. So not only does he throw the smoothie and actually make contact with the young woman's shoulder, but then after that, he tries to get into the back office or into the back area, and you hear him shaking the knob of the door like he's trying to get to them. And so it's his threatening actions in addition to the words that I think might have him in quite a bit of hot water. I'm not sure that any judge will actually find him guilty of a felony, but based on his actions, he may very well be guilty of the other two charges.
It's such a great and succinct rundown of all of it because you nailed about 6 of my questions with one answer, which was perfect. And I kept thinking, I think she's talking about what might be also a plea bargain here. I mean, he has already been, pretty, forthcoming with his admissions of embarrassment and of guilt and saying he was a father who was, apoplectic at his son nearly dying. I also think there's an element, if you listen to the video without the beeps, you hear a lot more of what's going on. And it's almost as though the high school kids are goading him as well, saying, bye-bye, 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 rather than, we're so sorry, sir, let me get you a number, let me help you. I mean, they definitely didn't act as though there was a manager on premises, but they're kids, right? These were 16, 17-year-old kids, and this is a big angry guy, and these kids probably don't understand, Melissa, what it's like when you've nearly lost your baby. Yes, he's 17. So to that end, he was a wealth manager, a wealth advisor at Merrill Lynch for 26 years. And Forbes actually named him one of Connecticut's 25 best wealth advisors just last year. So this is what Merrill Lynch came out with before any investigation, before anything. They just fired him outright and said, our company does not tolerate behavior of this kind. We immediately investigated and have taken action. This individual is no longer employed at our firm. I mean, immediately investigated, man, it's only like 48 hours old. I don't know how much they could do. I don't know if they talked to him. I don't know what Merrill Lynch did, but I do want to ask you, Melissa, if you think that that's also fair, because basically this guy's life is over. First, he nearly loses his kid, freaks out and says something terrible, and now he's getting the death penalty without dying. Is this fair, from your perspective?
Yeah, honestly, when I first heard of the story, I read an article, so I hadn't actually seen the video, and I felt this compassion for this person because as a psychotherapist and mental health professional, I also know what happens to our brain when we're under great duress. We go into, as fight, flight, freeze, and submit. And this man, from all accounts, was clearly in fight. But afterwards, having watched the video, we are still ultimately responsible for how we handle that kind of stress and regulating our emotions. And I think, this could have been handled so much better. And I'm sure if you film anyone in the most, trauma traumatic moments of their life, they would look back and think, I wish I had handled it differently. And this was such an opportunity for education of that staff. I think, food service in general doesn't always recognize the implications of allergies. And if he had asked for peanut, in fact, to not be in that smoothie, maybe having follow-up questions that they're trained to ask, is there an allergy? What's the reason you're requesting that accommodation here? So, such a learning opportunity for anyone on both sides of this, in the food service as well as parents. Just a reminder that you do have to be that explicit and really stress, how severe these allergies can be.
So, April, that brings me to, I think, what's a very important point here. This is a recklessness or a carelessness that could have been lethal. And these are 17-year-old kids who are at the wheel. They're at the wheel of the smoothies, right? What is the legal exposure here for that store, having left a bunch of minors in control of something that nearly killed a kid? Does this man, who's experiencing the worst 2 days of his life, have a big civil suit ahead against Robeks that he could win despite his own behavior?
He may have a civil suit based on negligence, especially if it's, as you say, there was no adult on the premises. All I know is what I saw in the video, and they all appeared to be teenagers. And if there was nobody else supervising them, it will come down to their training. It will come down to, had the supervisor just left, was the supervisor in the back? So he may very well have a civil suit based on negligence. But I read a contradictory report saying that he actually did not tell the staff about an allergy. He simply said, as the kid said, no, I'd like no peanuts, please. So, it's a matter of whether you put them on notice as well. That will be an issue when it comes down to a lawsuit based on negligence.
So that's a good point. It was only one person, the 17-year-old girl named Charlie, who posted this video on TikTok, who said, he just said, it was kind of a mix up, and I'm not sure about the syntax in it. It was a little tricky to understand, but she actually said these words. Let me find them because it's important. Because I would think that you'd need, witness corroboration when you separate the witnesses right away, because there's been 48 hours for these kids to all get together and get their story straight if they so want to do that. But he just said no peanuts in it. But if you don't say you have a nut allergy, which is an option on the app and in person, we use different stuff if there's a nut allergy. And I'm not saying that Charlie's not right, but I'm also saying that there's two sides of this story, and clearly they're both probably pretty dug in at this point, both sides pretty angry at each other. It's not easy to be 17 and be attacked like that, and it's not easy to be 48 and nearly lose your son. So in that respect, just quickly, and I think, April, you're the best person to answer this. If he does launch a civil suit, do you think the jury would be sympathetic to the kids and sympathetic to Robeks, or sympathetic to him?
I think you'll have jurors who are sympathetic to both. I think you'll have jurors who will say this man was almost 50 years old. He needed to learn to control his emotions and not enter the store if he was that emotional. That's one. And then on the flip side, I think you will very much have parents on there who are saying, how dare you talk to this 48-year-old man this way, young lady? So I think that, you'll have jurors. We're all human. And so we've all been on both sides of that. And I think that's what the jurors will see. And they will say, hey, these kids don't know that your kid almost died. They just know that you entered the store angry.
He did say it, April. He did say it. The first thing he said when he came in the store was, I've just come from the hospital and my son nearly died. So they knew that. But at 17, I don't think I had any appreciation for what that really felt like, certainly. And I think we could all agree on that. And thank you both, because I think this is just a really robust conversation. It shows exactly two sides of the story. And that's what we're all about at NewsNation. Melissa, thank you. April, thank you. I hope you both come back.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.